was a pretty big culture shock when I first got here. Very, very different Hong Kong.
What age were you again?
11, I think.
What do you reckon was the biggest thing about Australia that you didn't like, or what do you remember about it? Like the first impression?
Oh, tall poppy syndrome is just rife.
That's funny though, that's the first thing, yeah.
You could tell that from an 11-year-old.
Well, I didn't know it then. I was just confused why like being good at stuff was a bad thing here.
That's so interesting.
But I like looking back on it, that was easily the thing I found most challenging. And then like some of the proverbs I used to use, like I remember saying as like an 11-year-old, and rightfully so, because I would never say it now, but I remember saying stuff like, you need to eat some humble pie, and I was like, looking back on it, I'm just like, what made you think that would ever work? That, and I had an American accent when I came over, or like an American twang. I presume it was from like watching TV over in Hong Kong, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, so when I rolled over here, I was, American twang with a hint of, I don't know, Chinesey and Cantonese stuff, and then like very quickly became Australianised.
How does tall poppy syndrome start in Australia?
That's a question well above my pay grade. I don't think it's that common with adults here. Like, me and my mates don't hate each other for being good at stuff. I just don't understand why it's kids.
You think as we progress more, because the younger generation is so like online and like into America stuff, you'd think they'd almost get better at it, right? Like in terms of celebrating yourself.
I'd go the other way.
You reckon?
Well, I reckon, like, anyone who was ever good at sport when I was growing up with them,
You just became rivals.
Okay.
like, even sometimes they were on the same team as you, and like, you'd almost be pitted as if it was, well, you still got to beat them.
Yeah, true.
And I reckon that's exactly what American sport is. Like, 5-star recruits against 5-star recruits is pitted as like the biggest rivalry games you could have.
That's a good point.
I can't imagine that being online makes it any better for anyone.
Yeah, maybe.
I certainly didn't find, like when I was getting drafted and stuff, I didn't find the online coverage did not help me, appreciate everyone else's talents.
Biggest misconception about athletes in your sport?
That's a good question. I think it's like how easy the life is. I think everyone admits that playing footy is hard, but like for the 5 or 6 examples at the top of the competition, like the rest of us, or a lot of us, have to do other stuff outside of football, like to be prepared for when it ends. When you're on 1 yearers or like short-term contracts and stuff, I think the majority of players nowadays have a realization that it won't last forever. And like cost of living now hurts everyone, so it's like, well, you've got to start planning ahead. And most of the time you don't end up doing stuff you're passionate about, because you're most passionate about plan A, which is football. So you end up doing a business degree or something like that, and it's not what you enjoy, and it almost makes the transition out of football even harder, because you're going into something you don't really want to do.
Surely the competitive part of you also thinks that if I'm putting some of my time into a plan B, I'm not fully backing myself in plan A.
100%. And like
that balance of having the distraction is a good thing to...
Yeah, but I don't think it's easy to know that when you first come into the system. Because I still firmly remember being like, oh, should I even be planning for plan B? Isn't that a red flag?
Because I'm doubting myself.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like just you keep hearing about like, oh, you need to be prepared and you need to do all this extracurricular stuff, and like sometimes it's just a load of shit, because nobody wants to prepare for life after footy, because you just want to prepare to make footy, like career number one.
Yeah.
And then when you do have to make the transition, like nobody else is really helping. Like people are taking care of you, yes, if it's dire straits, but it's still super difficult because you don't have your 20s to work it out. Like the time that everyone else uses to go to Europe and live overseas and do all of that stuff, like you don't have. And it's not a woe is me. Like obviously everyone understands what they're giving up and why they're giving it up, because we make more money than anyone else our age, and most of us are more talented than the rest of the cohort, and that's why we get to where we are. But I think the misconception is that it's super easy, particularly like for the whole system. When there are like super talented guys who are always going to have a long career in football and make a lot of money. But for every one of them, there's 5 or 6 that go a year, 2 years, and then have to figure it out, but have also lost those years that everyone else gets to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think that's super challenging. And like my thing for the last year has been to just try different stuff out. But I'm 25, like, and I've only just realised that I should be trying stuff out and seeing what I like and what I don't like now.
Yeah.
Like, you can imagine how much more difficult. And like everything in my life is structured around if I get delisted. So like my mortgage, like my offset, I've planned everything around if I get delisted or do an ACL this year and I don't get another contract, how do I get to the end of my degree and start earning money again without being underwater?
Yeah.
2 careers.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is the biggest challenge nowadays, because it's so cutthroat, but it is also so lucrative that like it's a weird catch-22 where like if you pour everything into footy, then you get nothing out of it necessarily, but you know, you don't get the career you wanted out of it. You don't end up making the money and, you know, spending the years in the system and getting the rewards of that. Like, I'm a very big advocate for the psychology program that the AFLPA run, which is, you know, it's almost like a covert operation so that clubs don't find out if you don't want them to, which I think is great. And they do loads and loads for players past and present. I think sometimes, like, current players just don't understand what they're entitled to.
Yeah.
But they do a hell of a lot. And clubs are better than ever at taking care of players, and particularly encouraging players to do more stuff outside of football.
That's good.
But there's only so far they can... Like, the club can't baby you forever.
Yeah.
They took a chance on you, and it's, you know, it's a 50-50 deal. I know there's, like, heaps of public commentary now about, like, clubs being loyal to players and players being loyal to clubs, but... like, they've all got to run a profit. I think there's a limit to how much they can do for you, because, like, and I really think if you really want to make the most of being at a football club, go and meet board members and go and, because they're all happy to, like, they're all super generous people. Like, the guys I know who have transitioned out of football the best are the guys who did heaps of stuff extracurricular and made the most of the connections they make out of football club, because there's always powerful people involved. I guess the ones that don't tend to be the ones that just don't engage at all or don't think it's worthwhile, and then, you know, you come out of footy with whatever you come out of it, but you don't come out with any of the connections that some of the smart guys make.
Yeah. I remember listening to Michael DJ Vasilovic, like a basketball player. He's probably your age or a bit older, but they asked him, like, what his number one takeaway from his previous AFL club, basketball club was, and he just was the connections, like the networking, like that's the biggest part that he'll take away. Like, not even on-court success, it's just like the people behind it all. I'm like, that's kind of interesting.
Well, particularly if, like, giving up your time like that, because I reckon the first couple of years of my career I just used to hate events like that, and now I sort of go out of my way to talk to people I don't normally talk to, because I reckon at those events a lot of the time, like, you end up talking to your teammates, and I've started thinking now, well,
what's the point?
I talk to them every day in the locker room anyway. If you just end up, you know, like, sitting in a corner with them again, is there any, like, real point in being at the event anyway?
It's so hard though for, like, introverted and young. Like, that's so daunting. But
I mean, that's the opportunity you get and the risk you take. Like,
well, you don't, like, I assume you don't realise the people you're around in terms of the quote big dogs. Like, you don't know who you're exposed to.
No, you never do. But I guess that's the beauty and what got impressed on me, luckily earlier than whenever my career ends, is that a lot of those guys are way more generous than you think they are. Like, they're so willing to give you an opportunity or have a conversation with you and put you in touch with the right people, which they don't have to do. Like, it's not their job. But yeah, they tend to be way more generous than probably what your first impression is.
Podcast listener, music listener, or just dead silence?
No, I like silence.
Whenever I walk the dogs and don't listen to anything, I'm like, I'm a better person. You just feel...
You're a higher being.
Yeah, you just... No, more in a wholesome sort of way. Like I'm so used to putting on a podcast, but when you don't, you're like, I can hear the wind blow, I can hear the bloody feet on the pavement.
I will be honest and say I never not listen to anything.
Yeah, I think sometimes I just need to work through my head noise.
That's probably smart.
And that's the only way I can, because a lot of the time I'll avoid it while I can. But yeah, avoiding it is like the worst thing for me. So a lot of the time I'll go on runs like that or walks like that to just force myself to do it.